It's been an NFL season with a lot of weird games, major upsets. Jacksonville beats Buffalo. We've had overtime games, so many thrilling finishes. Last night, though, that was the truest game of the year. You really got a game that personifies both these franchises. Minnesota, a lot of talent. Their stars shined. Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, and their quarterback shrinks in standalone games. And they had it won and almost gave it away because all Minnesota games look like this. They're all like this. They dominate early, almost blow it. They struggle early, almost win it. That's exactly what the Vikings are. And you know what? That's a lot of what the Steelers are. Mistakes cost them the game. But let me talk about Big Ben. And that was one of the most prideful performances I've ever seen. Big Ben makes mistakes. Big Ben's imperfect. Big Ben's off season. Big Ben's age always an issue. But he sat in that pocket and overcame his organization. How many times did the Vikings have a safety or a linebacker that got a running start, unblocked, and bury him? Chase Claypool's silly mistake early, silly mistake late. The offensive line was brutal early. The defensive line was embarrassing. As Troy Aikman said, there are 10-yard holes. So Big Ben sat on the sidelines, watched his defense give up big yards, big chunks, and with all the pride in the world, he tried to bring them back. And he almost got there. And I've been critical of Big Ben, and I don't think he has much in the tank, but that was impressive. I'm not sure how many quarterbacks in this league could have safeties, and I'm talking Pro Bowl safeties for the Vikings and Pro Bowl linebackers for the Vikings, get a 10-yard running head start, bury Big Ben. He's a 6'5", 260-pound man and was wincing for large portions of the game. The center wouldn't snap in the ball, and Chase Claypool's being goofy. And I mean, you could blame a million things, and this has always been my thing on the Steelers. I never doubt the talent. I never doubt their ability to compete. They're one of the great count-em-out underdog teams in the league, but I feel like half the time they're overcoming themselves. And I don't know what the succession plan is for Pittsburgh, but I know this. Murphy, whatever that guy's name is, Dwayne Haskins, and the other backup, Mason Rudolph, they wouldn't give you that last night. That second half would not look like that. That game is 45-7 with those guys. The ability for Big Ben to stand in that pocket and take hits, yelling at Tomlin on the sideline, come back and almost get us to an overtime. An inch away, if not for a great play by a Vikings safety. So, my takeaway is that was the truest game you could have. All Viking games are sort of like that. And the Steelers, the legacy of Ben and the Steelers with Tomlin and Ben's going to be, they can play against anybody and they can lose to anybody. And they can be terrible in one half and heroic in the other, and that's exactly what they were. And for the record, and we said this yesterday, the Steelers are still in it, and the Vikings crept back into it. So the game really didn't have huge influence because Minnesota, the NFC, right now 25 of 30 NFL teams, 25 of 32 NFL teams are still in it. You take out the Jets, the Jags, the Lions, the Texans. Even Seattle and the New York Giants are still in it. But I sat there and I watched Big Ben, and I'm like, listen, man, he doesn't have much left. He emptied the tank last night. Big Ben emptied the tank. Very impressive, especially late. Not sure what their succession plan is, but nobody else on that roster could do what Big Ben did last night. Very few quarterbacks in the league could do what Big Ben did last night. Take that beating in that hole and almost rally them back. Tip of the cap to Ben. That was really impressive. This wasn't. The Lakers are in the weakest part of their schedule. And last night, they not only lost to Memphis, but Memphis didn't have the great Ja Morant, their best offensive player, and they didn't have Dillon Brooks, their best defensive player. And they still beat the Lakers soundly. I've always said this. Deciphering good from very good or very good from great, it's tough. You've watched these musical shows and people clearly have a competent voice. Are they good or are they very good? Are they very good or are they great? It's hard to decipher. It's situational. It's inches in sports. But weakness or bad is easy to spot. And the Lakers are a very mediocre defensive team. They're old. Their bench is old. Their starters are old. And even the guys who used to play defense like LeBron are limited now because of his age. He's in his 18th or 19th year. So they just get beat down the court. If you spread them out like a Phoenix can do or a Golden State, they can't defend the three, nor do they shoot it very well. But here's something else that's really important. Some of this is on LeBron. Like, LeBron's the smartest Laker. He's probably one of the smartest basketball players in league history. And so what that means is you want LeBron to have the ball in crucial situations. Well, that means he's going to be the de facto point guard. Well, that means you move Russell Westbrook off ball to a two guard. Yeah, that's not good. So I talked about this when Russell Westbrook came over. He's great for providing production and minutes. But in crisis, you don't want him with the ball making decisions. You want LeBron with the ball. Just like you wanted, as a Laker fan, Magic with the ball. Just like in Phoenix, you want Chris Paul with the ball. Just like in Golden State, you want Steph with the ball. There are a handful of players in this league are super smart, highly functional, play well in crisis. It's like in baseball. Some guys shrink in the playoffs. Derek Jeter never did. Like, you want the ball in LeBron's hands in crisis for this team. And that means Westbrook moves over to the two. And that's not what he is. Now, the Lakers could have had Buddy Hield. Remember that? About the time they were going to make this move for Westbrook or Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield, all the talk was, go get Buddy Hield. And we said at the time, he's a good two. He's not a lead. He's a two. He's a shooter. He would be really nice on this team. And Buddy would understand. LeBron's got the ball. Buddy, you're the two. You're the off guard. But instead it's Westbrook, and it doesn't work. Last night's prime example. Plus minus, LeBron plus 2, Westbrook minus 16. Westbrook's one of the worst plus-minus guys on this team. It's not to say he's not a Hall of Famer. It's not to say he's not fun to watch. It's not to say he doesn't work hard. Not to say he's not passionate. I don't want Westbrook with the ball in crucial situations if LeBron's on the same roster. So a little bit of this is on LeBron. And unfortunately, you're asking LeBron now to play like 37 minutes. This is the problem. Is that you're asking LeBron, because he is the smartest ball handler, the best guy in crisis, he's got to be on the floor or nothing works. This is my Seattle Seahawks criticism for years. I've said, Russell Westbrook, what do the Seahawks do well that's not connected to him? He gets hurt, nothing. Comes back, still hurt, nothing. This is the Lakers' problem. As you get into the second half of the season in the playoffs, it's all about crucial possessions. What do the Lakers do well when LeBron is not in the game and doesn't have his hand on the ball? Nothing. It is a big problem. They jumped to a lead, lost it, and lost to a mediocre team without their two best players. I don't think it's they don't keep their foot on the gas. I think it's when LeBron's not running the show, they're not built for situational greatness. It's not a shot at Westbrook. It's his career reality. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.